Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
With the big, bold flavour of HP sauce. Because summer is too good for just salad.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane on this occasion. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Don't talk through my professional bit.
Well, don't suggest we're going to get sacked imminently.
I never said that.
On this occasion. You did. You said on this occasion.
Well, none of us
like
know.
My current wife.
None of us
knows. And I will
knows.
talk through.
Okay.
Yes, you will. We've had an email actually that I thought we could start with if you're interested.
Oh yeah.
It's entitled Frank's Bags.
I hope this isn't stuff about my days on tour.
No.
Okay.
Dear Frank, Emily and Alan, according to Richard Herring's blog, TV and radio comedian Richard Herring,
yes.
I'm guessing that means, during the recording of Frank's Radio 4 history show on Wednesday night...
We can mention rival stations.
Well, it does other stuff anyway. Well, we can mention Radio 4,
we can
surely.
do that, Frank.
You've mentioned it again. Pardon?
I'm going to go one more
fine.
time because I like a rant
You have
for-
fingers in a lot of pies, Frank.
During the recording of Frank's Radio 4 history show on Wednesday night, Frank refused to leave his bags in the dressing room and took them on stage with him, citing the example of Nina Simone, who apparently used to take her groceries on stage with her. Is this true? If so, what prompted this curious affectation? I feel the readers would like to know. I like affectation.
No, I was speaking to Roland Rivron a few years ago. You know, the comedian and the former winner of Let's Dance for Comic Relief. Mm-hmm. And he was a drummer, and he played at Ronnie Scott's with Nina Simone. You know Nina Simone, my baby just cares, my baby just cares.
Oh,
I'm not sure I'd sum up her career quite in that way.
That was the live. That was the live. Did you not hear that live version?
Not that one, no.
Anyway, and she used to take her bags on stage with her because she thought they'd get nicked. And then one night she turned up with about 5 bags of grocery from, a well-known supermarket. That was all under the piano all night.
Brilliant.
One of the first pieces of advice I ever got in this job was an American comic said to me, always take your wallet on stage.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't do that. I like having empty pockets to do.
So you leave it in the dressing room?
Yeah. That's what we call you, empty pockets.
Empty pockets.
Behind your back. So did you take all your bags on stage then?
Well, it was only one bag and a ukulele.
Oh, your autobiography.
Exactly. So yes, it is true. And I think that's the first Nina Simone anecdote of since midnight on Absolute Radio.
Yep, since midnight.
Yeah. But there may be more. If anyone's got any Nina Simone anecdotes.
Well, that could be an interesting texting.
Yeah.
Couldn't it?
The baby just guess. Nina, you're right. I'm fine. Leave me alone.
Unexpected item in baggage.
Yeah. Nina Simone is she's actually standing on the scanning screen. So, okay, anything else?
Yeah, there's another email that I like. Inventive idea for an everyday problem is its title. I recently took my 2-year-old grandson Dylan to the beach with a friend, and I remember to put sun cream on all my exposed areas, namely my arms and legs, with of course liberal frequent applications of sun cream to my grandson. I'm responsible with children. We'd been on the beach.
Responsible with children sounds like a signature, doesn't it, on a letter?
We'd been on the beach for most of the day, and it was about 3 in the afternoon when a burning sensation between my shoulder blades alerted me that there was an area I'd missed. That night and all the next day, the pain was incredible. My sunburn looked like a purple-red scald, and I was in agony. As I live alone, there was no one I could ask to put cream on my back, and I didn't realise what short arms I had. I couldn't reach to apply Sudocreme. After sun I felt would do little, I thought, to alleviate the pain from my 3rd-degree burn. I looked like how I imagine a Tyrannosaurus Rex might do if it had sunburn and access to Sudocreme. It was then that I had an idea. I dug out a foam radiator roller from under the sink Applied Sudocrem
foam
to it. Yeah.
radiator
You know, like
roller.
you would paint behind a radiator with a little device.
I know that. Oh.
I don't know that.
Applied Sudocrem
Paint
to
behind the radiator? What kind of foolishness is that?
That's what they do. You've probably got a staff for that part of your life, yeah?
No, we just don't have radiators.
I applied Sudocrem to it and rolled my back. It was bliss. Feel free to pass this on to other singles with sunburn in a hard-to-reach place. You're welcome.
Well, we would pass it on, but I just feel it's a technique that will be abused.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a little tip here from someone called McTeach.
Okay.
Hashtag singles tip for sun cream.
McTeach sounds like if the prime of Miss Jean Brodie was written now, that's what it
Yeah.
would be called, if it was
Yes.
a sort of an e-book.
Well, this is hashtag singles tip. Put the sun cream on the back of your hand and you can access all of your back.
Is that right? So you
It's
can
a bit
reach
like getting
more
a
of
claw.
you can reach more of your back with the back of your hand than with the front of your hand.
Interesting. There you go. Thanks,
I'll have to
McTeach.
try. Whoa! What is that? Oh, God, it's the back of my hand. You think I'd know it better?
And Danny
Very good.
Harris has said, read the paint roller tip. I believe bodybuilders use this trick.
For
The
oil.
creosote solution.
Oh,
Plaster all over. Yeah.
Is that a joke?
No, but he's referring to it as creosote, but that is what they do.
That sounds fun,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
I've got a couple of rolls of anaglipta I put on my back.
Anaglipta,
Remember
that is-
anaglipta?
No.
It used to be. I'm not totally sure what it was, but my brother was a decorator and he always used to say, I need a couple of rolls of anaglipta. So I think it was a character in Terrorhawks.
Was Arteria a decorator?
This is Keith.
Oh, Keith.
Keith
sorry.
was a decorator, yeah.
Sorry.
He had the old, the classic transistor radio with paint drips
Oh,
on it.
yeah.
Oh, man, the badge of the painter and decorator.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I think it's wallpaper with raised sections.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A relief
Nice.
with the pattern in relief. There you go. If anyone knows what anaglipta is and they want to help me out, I think it's going all right. And I know a bit about painting, right? Let me tell you something that happened to me. I opened an arts fair in North London,
Yes.
the Hampstead Arts Fair, and they said to me, would you mind doing a painting? I said, well, I haven't done a painting since school.
Can I say, was it one of those things where they said, well, you open the art fair and then you found yourself doing 185 different things?
It was a bit like that, but
Okay.
it was all for a good cause. So I said, yeah, I'll do a painting. So I turned up, and I love a bit of art. Generally, I'm not like the Queen. The Queen who mocked that blue horse.
Hang.
Yeah.
Yes, the Queen. Of course, it's all come out. I warned you about the Queen. In case you didn't, the other week
It's getting worse.
she mocked a painting that someone gave her because the horse was blue.
She did.
In a real old-fashioned era, art should be so realistic. Now we got a picture of her doing a Nazi salute on the front of the newspapers. Was I right or was I wrong?
I'm not sure the two events were entirely connected.
Well, she
Yeah,
kept that painting, as they kept so many paintings.
Yeah.
So, Anyway, so I went and I did my painting, and as you can imagine, it was extremely poor. But, I gave it my best shot. And I had a lady from Hampstead Art School giving me help, saying, it'd be good if you did a bit of this and a bit of that. But anyway, I painted it. And it was, as you'd have guessed, if someone hadn't done a painting since school. Then I saw that this event was covered in the local free newspaper, the Camden Journal. It had a picture of me on
lovely.
on the cover doing my painting.
On the cover?
Yeah.
He means front page.
Yes, the front page. And I thought, well, it's a good thing because although, I can't paint, it's nice that that's the whole point of something like Hampstead Arts Fair, that everyone can have a go. You know what I mean? It's not about... And then I realised they had photoshopped in a better painting.
With a blue horse.
It was the same scene but just a much better painting.
That's good.
Can you believe that?
That's nice of them.
It's not nice
It
of them.
is. They spared your blushes, Frank.
What do you
I'd have
mean?
been so happy.
Are you kidding me?
Of course.
It's a
Everyone thinks
deceit.
you're a much better artist than you actually are.
But all
which
those
is
people
terrible.
I've said, no, I don't paint, they think, oh, well, that was a lie. Look at that fabulous thing
Yeah,
he
I
did on
don't-
the front of the
I don't
camera.
think now they'll be looking back on it and thinking, oh, Frank and his false modesty, if they
Well,
know you.
They think.
But I'm part of a deceit that I played, I didn't agree to.
Well, it's like when Stephen Fry says, "Oh, I don't know the answer." Was it possibly Socrates? It's
Yes.
that sort of thing, isn't it?
Well, I didn't have an earpiece, if that's what you're suggesting. No, but it was... anyway, I don't want to make a big fuss, because I've got 7 or 8 quite well-paid commissions on the strength of it.
Yeah.
I'm
And a
painting
GCSE through
painting
the
Benedict
post.
Cumberbatch naked this afternoon.
All right.
He has no idea I can't paint. He's standing up naked, but he's got one of those, those 1960s ashtrays on a stand.
Oh, I
got
love
one of those.
those.
Got one of those in front of him for modesty. My idea.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, I was on tour last year. You may recall. I think it's all right to plug it now. It's over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the film of me doing that, or a shortened version, was on BBC One last Friday.
Oh, I
I
watched
saw
it.
some of it.
Yeah. And I received an email this week
Oh, no.
from Ben Wilshire, the comic artist.
Ben.
Comic
Yes.
book artist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, comic.
Right,
Yeah, as
okay.
in, yeah, comic book artist.
Oh, you're a comic/artist now.
Well, yes, that's true. But there's no oblique in this.
There's no slash in you.
I prefer oblique to slash.
Oh, okay.
Because slash... Well, anyway. But oblique is... I think that was what they used to be called,
Yes,
those
I think you're
diagonal sticks. So anyway, Ben sent me an email saying that his dad, who was in hospital, had been watching that gig.
Yes.
And there's a bit towards the end, which is... it gets a bit rude towards
I
the
actually
end.
can't. I find that bit unbearable.
Yes, me too. What was I thinking of? Anyway, it gets there's a story about one of those, those very low to the ground trolleys that
Oh,
mechanics
don't. Makes me
wear.
feel sick.
So anyway, whilst watching that, apparently he laughed so much that he had stitches in his side from an operation. You know when people say I split my sides, laughing? He actually did burst all his stitches
Oh,
and
my
started bleeding.
You must be so proud.
Well, I said to him when I read the email, I said it triggered a mix of concern, pride, and laughter. If only they'd been in that order. But
Frank, you can say stitch burstingly funny.
yes, I could say that. I've noticed it proves my point. You can try and get more sophisticated, but people just want the dirty stuff.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't think the haiku section has put anyone in mortal danger.
No.
My boyfriend liked that.
I mean,
I
what
liked
if he'd watched a gig of me, when I was at my best? Would have killed him. So,
Why do you put yourself down like that?
well, because...
You did so well with that little show.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, darling. Anyway, my quote of the year so far was that Ben actually wrote, with no irony, no hard feelings for nearly killing my father, which is not something you often hear, is it? I suppose it's the sort of thing that people who work in the medical profession get all the time, but it was a new one on me, so I was... did make me wonder that maybe the government's right, maybe there shouldn't be light entertainment on the BBC.
Oh, yeah.
It's
good point.
dangerous. Poor old BBC. I bet they're hoping for a really bad winter, aren't they? Save a few quid on those licences for the over 75s. This is one of my choices, though, and I write notes in my book for my choices. So I thought I'd let you know what I wrote about this one. It's called I Can't Explain It. My note to myself was Beach Boys in a Homeless Hostel.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We have a mystery, what do you call it, fly tipping, when people put stuff, rubbish in
I
places.
had problems like that with a neighbour.
Yeah, well, I'm getting it.
It's awful. There was a wardrobe, leather armchair. It was like the Jack Duckworth's living room outside my house.
No.
Really?
Yeah, I had a massive go at them.
That's not all right, this weather, isn't it? I think I might have sat out there.
Yeah.
Couple of drinks in the
wardrobe.
Yeah. I've got my beer in the wardrobe here.
So what have you done? What's happened?
Well, I went to put some recycling in the bin. That's the kind of character I am. And there was a vacuum cleaner in there. Henry? No, not a Henry. That would have been too upsetting. That grinning face coming out of there. But no, it was one of those. I don't know what the technical term is, but not an upright.
Like a dustbuster.
Maybe. And so that was. I thought, oh, that must be, Kath or the mother-in-law put it in the recycling thing. The idiots, I thought.
Yeah.
But I thought I don't want to interfere. And then there was a bag of rubbish, which is supposed to be in the bin, was just on the floor. And I thought, I mean, come on, was what I actually thought. But anyway, so it turned out that some mystery person has been. Must be somebody very near. Who would do that?
David Baddiel.
Do you think?
Yes, save on the bills.
I don't think. I think it'd be on eBay if it was David Baddiel.
But he's in the line of suspicion, isn't he?
Well, he's the other end of the road. I don't know if he'd walk that far to do it.
Oh, okay.
But somebody in my road is thinking, well, I don't want this to be my problem anymore. I want it to be someone else's problem.
And so they're moving it to your bins?
Yeah.
How far apart are these houses?
Well, I don't know. If I knew how far apart, I'd know who's doing it.
No, I mean your houses. I don't know your street.
Well, we were joined on one side and then separate on the other. But it's really got on my nerve. I'm thinking of keeping a vigil, an all-night vigil.
All-night vigil.
I don't mean with candles and stuff, singing "We Shall Overcome." I mean,
that wouldn't turn you into a lunatic neighbour, would it?
Look, I've already nearly killed.
Mad.
I've nearly killed once this week. Once you get a taste for it.
I just got this image of you up all night with this wild-eyed stare.
But justice is important, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah.
I'd say that was quite a worrying turn of events.
I might regret
started talking like that.
I might regret that quote if I do kill someone in the near future.
Justice is important.
Well, justice is important.
It's just not something a friend normally says in everyday conversation.
No, I decided at the last minute in prefixing it with the word vigilante.
I just think justice is important, yeah.
Justice is important.
Okay.
I agree with that. Don't you ever have to fantasise about, something like that happens?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Do you ever have the harpoon gun fantasy?
No, I haven't had the harpoon gun.
See, what does that involve? The harpoon gun fantasy is that you suddenly, like in a case like this, I emerge from behind the recycling bin at 4 a.m. They run away, and I go, and you hear that. As the rope's connected, and then it hits them in the back, and then you can pull them. You can pull them back towards you. You don't have to go across the road to their house. You can just pull them back.
Very good.
And I wonder who would come across as in the wrong and slightly unhinged then.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. With the current government, I think I've got a fair chance of getting away with it. There'll be a public outcry on my behalf. I think that's the way things are going.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Yeah, I'm angry about it. I'm angry about the fly tipping.
Yeah. Well, readers have had some fly tippers.
What about, the old Punishment Fit the Crime, the Gilbert and Sullivan song? Punishment Fit the Crime. I was thinking, what about if I canonically irrigated them with their own vacuum cleaner? Mm-hmm. Hey?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Once you've got the waste product out, go for the heart. See if you can get the heart down there. Oh, man, all I did was... sorry, we've had some...
No, we've had... Katrine says, Frank, long-time reader, first-time writer here. We too have had a phantom dumper. Just last week, we've had a fluorescent yellow newspaper trolley. I rather like the sound of that.
What is that?
Fluorescent
yellow
like
newspaper trolley.
You know those sort of big, thick, waterproof bag things that they carry around free papers in, with the little wheels? You know those?
Oh, I know what you
Almost
mean,
like an old school paper
Yes.
bag.
Do they have wheels now as
think
well?
they do
Like
have
a wheelie
wheels.
basket.
People, no,
People
that's
don't
what
carry their own
the
stuff
obesity crisis. People don't carry anything.
I think you're right, Frank.
They
but I
drag.
did not expect this to be a public service broadcast today.
I know, but people just drag stuff. The old paper
I
kid
know.
with his thing, now he's got it on wheels.
Yeah.
The
It's all
laziness
on
of the
wheels.
rucksack generation.
Yep, carry your own stuff.
A travel
people.
cot and a bedside cabinet dumped behind our house. Not that phantom, though, as we know which neighbour it is.
Oh.
He was also seen in broad daylight, I love an in broad daylight, emptying junk from his garage into 2 other neighbours' bins.
Oh, no.
It seems fairly harmless, but it was big items, curtain rails, vertical blinds. What's this all about?
Yes,
Out of order is this?
It's always interesting cases. Like, well, when people talk about litter or people that's done something, you always think, you always talk, and everyone says, "Oh, it's an outrage." But there must be people at home now thinking, "Good on him." I don't blame him. What's wrong with that?
Well, another reader has said, talking about fly tipping, it's really horrible, but a friend of ours recently put their old fridge outside their house, hoping that someone would assume it worked and take it away. It didn't work. It was still there the next day. So she put a sign on it saying £25. It was gone the following morning. Strangely enough, they didn't leave £25.
That's an interesting idea.
It
Yeah,
is.
I like that conceit.
And a rare non-pun from Ian Angel there.
That was from me. That was
Mangle.
the angle. Oh, maybe Angel is his non-punning self. A bit like Dusty Springfield and whatever her name was, something O'Brien. And she used to talk about the real name as if that was her normal
Yes.
non-showbiz.
I like it when Angel goes a bit money
Oblique.
matters. It's a bit like a caller into Lorraine.
Yeah. Well, I think though you have to be super careful about getting rid of fridges, don't you? Don't they kill polar bears?
Something
Because
like
obviously polar bears are attracted to them.
that. You can't just dump them now. You have to sort of,
There you go. You heard it here first.
So what have we done this link? Carry your own stuff and be careful of how you dispose of your old fridge.
Yeah, we're basically saving the planet.
Yeah.
I knocked on my mother-in-law's door the other night.
God.
I know.
Do not like the start
But
of this.
in the end, she had to let me out.
Oh, Les lives on.
I knocked on my mother-in-law's door, and no answer.
Of course there was no answer. She was absolutely terrified.
And then I heard, what? And I said, lukewarm! Now, it was actually...
Were you playing a game of hot or colder, where people try and find something?
Well, I wondered if the neighbours heard this, what would they think? It was me, weather forecast.
All right.
So, in case she was laying her clothes out before she went to bed. Or I thought, is he keeping her posted on his new stage name? But what it was actually, we'd been doing the crossword.
Oh, nice.
We had one clue to go.
Oh.
And we'd been on it for like 20 minutes, and in the end we were both exhausted. And I went to bed, and then lying in bed in the darkness, it suddenly came to me.
Waiting for fly tippers.
I couldn't wait till the next morning. Yeah, exactly. So I went into the house. Yeah, but I was genuinely excited.
Oh, isn't it lovely when you get one of those clues?
It would sound like a very middle-class argument, wouldn't it? Lukewarm! That's you!
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
As you know, I'm the owner of the world's premiere fountain pen, the Peerless 125.
Oh, yeah.
Is it still going, is it?
Oh, God, yes. It'll go forever, I think. You refill them, you know.
Oh, no.
You
Yeah.
I'm not
do that,
familiar.
yeah.
I only know Yuri Geller. It sounded a bit like Yuri Film. It sounded like a name.
Oh, okay. But I will still use a ballpoint.
Oh.
Most
And other
notably...
people. He's got a Peerless 125, but he will also write with a biro.
Yeah, I'll step down now and
Getting
again.
it real, aren't you?
Certainly.
Yeah.
It's like that sometimes you think, maybe a hooded top today.
Yes.
Why not?
Yeah.
So, I tend to write with a a crystal 1.6 millimetre,
Yeah.
which I think I've spoke to you about before.
Yeah.
Yes, at great length, I seem to
You
recall.
love them.
It's the queen of the ballpoints.
Did you buy a big box of them or something?
I did
What does
actually.
it salute regularly?
Can I say I did get a box of 100?
Did you really?
You did,
Yeah.
then. How much is that, Frank? Do you know?
Well, it was an eBay thing. It was cheap.
You love eBay. Why are you going on eBay?
I think that you need a good deal of confidence to buy biros on eBay. What about if they'd all been used?
Do you really buy pens on eBay?
Yeah. I bought a box of...
To paraphrase yourself, you're a multi-millionaire.
well, so what? I'm not actually a
No,
multi.
I know. You
But
know
even
what I
so, yes, I could afford... Well, I don't know, what are you saying? I should afford to go to the shop?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to go to the shop for a box of biros.
Why do you even buy biros? Why don't you just get them where you are? I mean, you go in offices all the time.
Because
you could have a
once
few from room 101 each time you go in.
Because once you've used the crystal 1.6 millimetre, the other biros, they're a bit scratchy. If there's one of my great hates in life is the intermittent writing of a biro.
Oh, really?
You know those when you start writing and
This
then
is hell.
Oh,
The thief and the miser I'm stuck between.
no, really.
I don't know why I'm getting dragged into this.
But anyway, when you get them new as well, which I didn't realise, they have like a little wax coating on the ball.
They don't.
Yeah, so I started writing with it, nothing, and I thought, that's it. I've been
You've been
I've
hacked.
been gold.
Yeah.
The great eBay's pen scam, biro scam.
But then I realised you have to peel a little wax cover off the ball that protects it, and then so anyway, I've been writing with this pen from wax to wane.
Very good.
And it finally, last week before, it stopped writing. And I looked and it was empty. And of all the biros I've written with, I have never followed one through the full extent of its life.
How long would you say it's lasted you, that one?
Well,
A week?
no, more than that. Probably,
Okay, sorry, I'm not familiar with the biro life.
Probably about 3 weeks. But it's quite emotional to follow one all the way through. It's a bit like, that 7-Up series.
Yes.
It's like that. And, usually you acquire a biro sort of accidentally, and it's halfway through its cycle, you never really know. But to be out there at the unwaxing...
Yeah, you knew it as a young'un.
And then it is, I feel like I've watched it grow.
Yeah.
When you get them, they're sort of already rounded individuals. But I was there for its first word.
Wow.
Literally.
That is nice.
And it was really beautiful.
And for its dying breath.
I've never watched the full cycle of a biro before. And...
That's age for you.
yeah, exactly. I'm a little bit... Can you hear my voice?
He's welling up, ladies and gentlemen.
I am a bit... Ooh. Yeah, beautiful.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text the show. I like it. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Or, well, I don't know, email the show, why don't you, via the Absolute Radio website. Mm-hmm. Do you get that? Text 812. Okay.
Now, I don't want the excitement levels to rise too much, but we've had a lot of correspondence in regarding biros.
Well, ballpoints in general.
I'm so okay, sorry.
Biro,
I'm a
I
70s
believe.
child.
Is Biro a brand name?
I don't know, but you could well be right. Anyway, Nature's Way has tweeted us to say, I bought a pack of Uniball Signo gel pens,
Okay.
0.7.
Don't know
They're
those.
the best you can buy.
0.7, that's thin, isn't it?
No missing bits with these smooth rollers. Bye-bye, Crystal.
Oh.
It's
I'll try it.
interesting you say it's thin, because I had a go on a Crystal 1.6 last week that you said, they're the best biros.
Smooth ride.
Oh.
Big thick nib in it. It's like a thick
Nib you call it?
like the end bit. The end bit.
The
It's
ball.
It's like a bouncy
a
ball
big
or
ball.
something. Is it not?
I
It's not.
used the Pentel calligraphic pen.
Do you?
Oh dear, that's an artist pen, isn't it?
Well, quite.
Well,
quite.
Well, look, I think what we've found out is we're all different.
Well, you told your anecdote about seeing one through from its first word to its last, and
You call it an anecdote. I call it a...
Well, I would call it
saga.
a heartbreaking tale of woe.
A Damascene moment.
It's the first thing you've done that I thought deserved that sad music like they used to do on Radio 1.
That's Julie's pancreas fell off.
Yeah. Frank's pen ran out. Oh, boo-hoo.
Annie QPR, who's one of our regulars, says, I used to sell those biros. They are hexagonal, so they won't roll off a desk.
I thought all biros were... Well, not all, but the majority were...
Did you want to say ball?
Annie has also said, no, Biro is a family name.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Yes, so
Okay.
you're correct.
Anyway, we've also heard
They've all got flat sides to them. They said they don't roll, generally.
This one here's got a round one. I don't know if you can all hear that.
That's
good
rubbish,
radio,
rolling.
isn't it?
Come on. Yeah, maybe, we shouldn't get too deep into the world of the ballpoint.
I don't think
Well,
so.
you say that, but Marie says, I just wanted to say I was given a Papermate pen.
I remember with
him?
the pulsing heart, so that it you could write up online on your back.
No.
Yes.
I was given it for my 18th birthday. I thought it was really posh at the time. I still have it now and it still works. I turned 47 last week.
Goodness me.
But she must have had refills.
Oh, she's had refills.
At her age.
I'm not... God.
No, but that's great. But a Papermate, eh?
Oh, I
Yeah.
loved a Papermate.
But the Parker, I mean...
I've got a Parker.
Yeah, well, everyone has now. Michael Parkinson started giving them away.
We've also had a text, an email rather, from 921 Frank et al.
Good.
Your crystal biro anecdote has genuinely heartened my Saturday morn. I'm a teacher and I often buy multi-packs. He's put in brackets, pronounce that I.
Good man.
Multi-packs of varied colours to mark. Purple, pink, aqua blue form marking.
Purple.
I too have been at the start of many of their young, vibrant lives, but so rarely see them through to the loss of life. Occupational hazard, I guess.
Oh, that's
So you've done a
lovely.
grand job. Isn't that nice?
This is all well done.
Some
I like
closure.
91.
Oh, that is nice. I can smell the children's BO coming from that email. You know when you walk into a class,
Oh, they don't know. They don't understand
they don't
yet.
care. Why should they?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We need to talk, I think. It's
No,
a
we're
radio
going
show.
to. I'm
Okay.
just
Why
I'm
are you taking
overwhelmed
a
by all
breath?
this biro correspondence /
Okay.
ballpoint pen.
Should we have one last biro?
Well, we
Communication.
have confirmation that Biro was a Czech engineer. I believe it's Laszlo Biro, who needed to
Laszlo
find a
Biro.
way to write with ink in space.
Why did he have to write with ink in space? Why couldn't he use a pencil?
Isn't that what happened? I thought the Americans spent years trying to develop a pen that could write in space, and then the Russians used the pencil. Maybe that's an urban myth, but that's what they always used to
Well,
say.
that sounds like a lot of the propaganda that was
when
going
that-
on at the time of your childhood.
Oh, don't start slagging off the Soviets.
When that email just said that you can write lying down using a biro, I thought, well, that's the joy of a pencil. I occasionally write lying down using a pencil.
Do you know?
In fact, I've often thought I should buy...
What,
I should-
mid-love sketching?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever thought of learning Russian, Frank?
You changing the subject?
yeah.
You don't want to talk
Well,
about
I was-
mid-love sketching.
Because I
was,
just remember, there's a vogue for everyone learning Russian in the sort of 70s and 80s. So all
What-
these people learnt Russian and to
And they're very
no
difficult.
good use, really.
I was in Cologne with the comedian and poet Tim Key,
I thought you were going to say with the German Chancellor.
and we were on a train, and I know a little tiny bit of German from school.
Oh.
But there was two Russian women on there, and he just started suddenly speaking in fluent right. And you know when you know
That's quite
someone
hot.
and you've never heard the foreign language, like Adrian Charles does it on the phone. So Adrian's saying, oh, well, the Albion, oh, it's me mum, hold on a minute. It's very, it's quite exciting.
Yeah. Wow.
I think he just speaks backwards.
Yeah.
So he was doing it with the Russian, was he then?
Yeah, and it is quite an impressive sounding language.
I see them in a different light when they speak another language. I think it's very impressive. I'd love to hear you with the German. I'd love that.
I did go up
Ich
to
bin ein Berliner, is that what you said?
I did go up to a woman and said, "Wie komme ich am besten zum der Automuseum?"
Oh, was it straight to the hotel room?
Yes, she said, "What?" Did I tell you this was in Coventry? No,
You were going
it
to the
didn't
Auto
work.
Museum. What's the Auto Museum? The car...
It's like a
Autobahn.
car
museum.
museum. Car museum.
Otto.
Yeah, I thought that bit, you might have got that bit.
Oh, my phone's going off.
That's your phone. It's the least professional thing that's ever happened
so
in the
sorry.
history of broadcasting.
I can't bear
Goodness
it.
me.
I'm putting it, right
Frank,
up there.
that's terrible, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know, I'm so upset. What were you telling us about your art, love-making art?
Oh no, I was just I was thinking I should buy in bulk those little mechanical pencils, you know, the ones that you click,
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
those.
yeah.
and then I could just always use pencils, not write with pens at all.
I find it hard to retract with those. Once the lead's out, I can't get it back in again. You put it in your pocket, it's through the lining, snapped off.
I never even thought of the ramifications of this as a... I just
Well,
didn't think it through, Frank. I'm sorry.
This is one of the great things about spare time.
Yeah?
As you get older.
Will you speak a bit German to me later?
Yeah, okay,
Oh,
I'll
my
try.
goodness.
I don't know. Not today of all days, with the big the revelations in the newspaper.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Here's the thing. I am probably, of the three of us on this panel, I'm the least in the know about One Direction. I don't know any of their names, but I do know that one of 1D has gone the wrong D recently. And he's
If he'd gone the wrong D. Yes.
he's going to be a one daddy, apparently.
Yeah, it's because there's always got to be the first One
First of the boy
Direction
bands
to
to-
father.
No, of course there was.
Yeah.
And he was actually, can I just say, he was always my personal favourite.
Was he?
See, I
Has
remember
that
when,
changed now? or
when it
not?
happened with the Spices. Do you remember when
Yeah.
they started having kids? You think, well, you know, it's going to happen.
Not in these circumstances, surely.
How old is Louis?
23, I believe.
I mean, it's not going to be like...
Premature.
You're not going to be the youngest dad at the school gates, depending
No.
on where he lives.
No.
Like,
What about
Certainly
when
not.
one
One
of
of
the
the older
papers had a
ones.
caption saying 33 tattoos and a baby on the way?
yeah.
I mean,
That was a
please.
good film, wasn't it?
It's a weird...
That was Hugh
funny follow-up.
Hugh Grant wasn't in that one. He
It's
said,
a weird
"No,
job
this
for-
is becoming a ridiculous."
For the journalists,
Exploitation.
they have to go through all the old photographs
Yeah.
and count up all the tattoos. It's a strange little bit of research.
Harry's got
that they have.
52.
That'll be some
That's
office.
just the age. No, he's got 52
That'll be an
tattoos.
office junior gets that job, and he
think?
they'll just slam it on his desk. Stevie, I want to know how many tattoos Louis got, and I want to know in the next 30 minutes. Okay, move it. That's what's life like in the modern journalist thing, Casey. Was there any good headlines? I was thinking, should it not have been One Conception?
Oh.
No, I don't
That's a
think
good
anybody
one,
did that.
Frank.
That's
Nobody
good.
did that. What is it with these people? I wouldn't. They missed out on the big when Hilary Duff got pregnant. They missed out on the obvious. If only Mary Berry was younger, because I'd love a revival of Bon in the Oven.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that
You
would
never
be good.
hear that anymore, do you?
That would
I
be
know.
good. No, I don't
It's
think
a
there
very
were any good
quite,
headlines.
it's a bit of a modern relationship, this one. I think they had what they call, the young people call them, is it hookups?
It's over the brush.
A hookup.
certainly.
Yeah. Oh,
A
certainly.
hookup, a brief fling, was
What?
it?
Two dates.
A
is what
hookup.
I've heard.
2 dates.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in real terms, probably one.
It's weird though, because I've not had much in the way of psychic experiences in my life. But you know, some psychic people say, if you speak to a woman once said to me, "You've got an incredible aura,"
Oh yeah.
and I was with Rita Ora. Did I tell you that? Yeah, I missed that part. I always miss that part of the anecdote, people. No, she said, "You've got an incredible aura," she said. And and I said, "Oh, what does that mean?" And she told me, and she said, "You know, you're psychic. I can tell you." She said, "We're all psychic in various levels," and I've always thought that's nonsense. But I read that he'd had a bit of a short-term, shall we call it, relationship with Brianna Youngworth.
I believe so.
Yeah, the stylist Brianna Youngworth, and a vision came into my head of stylist Brianna Youngworth, of sort of, blonde hair, short skirt, in great shape. I saw a picture of her, and by golly, if she didn't look exactly like that.
Wow.
That's too much of a coincidence,
That
isn't
is
it?
amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think there might be a stage act in this.
You need to harness this talent. It'd be a shame if
I
you
tell you, a
didn't.
mate of mine saw a spiritualist in Watford, and the guy came on, and he was struggling, and he said, D, the letter D, does letter D mean anything to anyone? Nothing. The letter D. And then he said, it's coming through, Dad. That's desperation, isn't it? So my next...
I think that's what it was, D for desperation.
My next choice is it's called it's by Happy, and I've written on this one. I think I can read this out. Have I got the right one? Colour happiness.
Oh,
hold on,
this
just
is a good bit
stick
of
with
a
me.
show.
Stick with me. I'm not being helped. I'm not being helped by my people. Oh, I can't find it. Oh, it sounds so
Will you play
disappointed.
it and then tell us?
Okay, but it's not the same, is it?
I'm just trying to
Oh,
help.
God, he's going to go down that road. You sound like me.
Oh,
It's not the same,
I just want
is
life.
it?
Don't you just want life to work? Don't you get that feeling? Forget it.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
If anything, I think this whole story about her getting pregnant shows what a good stylist
Oh,
she
I don't know.
is.
Can we say the
doesn't
P
it?
word?
What, pregnant?
Don't hammer it home.
It's a medical term, isn't
What
it?
do
I
you
don't think
mean?
it's...
Yeah, but it's breakfast television. People don't want their noses rubbing in it.
What, you think in the previous link when we said that he was expecting a baby, people didn't realise that there might be a
Yeah,
pregnancy
but it's all
involved?
about words.
No.
Ridiculous.
Can't we say gravid?
All right, well, the fact that she's in the family way, I feel
Yes,
like...
he prefers the little twee 50s
yeah.
euphemisms
Well,
like
Gravid
that.
is a good term.
Okay,
isn't
we'll
it?
do
From the
gravid,
same
darling.
root as gravity.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed, she's gravid. And
Oh, this
I
will
think
make us
that
sound very
sounds
modern.
worse.
Let's go gravid.
I think, in a way, it just proves what a good stylist she is. She must be amazing at her job, because she probably gave him loads of clothes and he put them on and she went, oh my God, you look amazing. Let's take it all back off.
Oh, yeah.
And I wonder if, as she took all his clothes back off, she hung them up properly, maybe next to
Can
that
I just say,
steam
having
iron
seen a
bit.
couple of photographs, I was a little surprised to hear she was a stylist, but that's another point. Not my kind of stylist, and I mix with. I did think it was interesting.
Can I say, speaking of stylists, by
Yeah.
the way, just while I remember this, last
Oh,
night...
we're not right now, but anyway.
Cass was playing the Smiths to Boz last night.
Oh.
And it was, hang the DJ, hang the DJ, hang the DJ, hang the DJ, hang the DJ. And afterwards he said, hang the DJ over and over and over. And I said, that sounds like he's working in Moss Bros. Got nothing.
yes.
No, not a laugh from the household.
Oh, well.
And that's why I'm living in a hotel at the moment. Nightmare.
One of the friends said he'd split up with his long-term girlfriend, you see, recently. Did you know this?
I didn't.
I mean, 4 years she hung in there.
Really?
Bit of a sickness.
Someone in One Direction went out with someone for 4 years.
Something like that, wasn't it? The young people will know, Sarah will know.
Wow.
But one of the friends said, well, it's just very hard when he's away up to 9 months of the year. I thought, well, if you're going to have a time reference, don't say 9 months, please.
No.
Rub her face in it, or what?
They work them, though. They do work those pop kids.
They
Oh, the
do.
kids. I was
Oh,
wondering
God.
who you were talking
No, but they get
about,
money
who's
now.
been
It's not
worked
like
and-
Bros. They don't
No.
get ripped off.
No, but they... well, it is like Bros. They're all a bit like Bros, aren't they? But, yeah, they really do. Their schedules are horrific. A little bit of sympathy there for the boy band.
Wow.
We'll come back to Slagging Them
become
Off
of you?
after these messages.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
There's a documentary about the Rolling Stones on Absolute Radio tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
Oh, I'll listen
I'm
to
actually talking heads on it
Oh, yeah.
as Nina Simone.
Oh, yeah.
When I met the Rolling Stones, I thought these are crazy boys. Yeah,
Why did it sound like it's terrible?
I did it over the phone. They had no idea it wasn't me. Wait till they see the obituaries. Anyway, Louis.
What are we going to
Louis.
do about Louis?
Well, Louis actually gave us an inadvertent spoiler alert because I think 3 years ago he tweeted an April Fool's joke where he
yes.
said, "I'm going to be a dad," and he gave the game away somewhat. Then
Can I?
That's unfortunate, isn't it?
When I heard that had
yeah.
happened, I suspected that most people who heard that would have thought, "What One Direction were famous 3 years ago." But when I read it, I thought, Twitter 3 years ago.
really,
Yeah, they
yeah,
both seem unlikely events.
yeah,
One Direction have been big for 3 years.
yeah.
Who won that year? Here's a quiz question.
What?
The year that One Direction were on X Factor, who won?
Oh,
Um,
Sam thingy. Was it the woman? No, I don't know.
Matt Cardle. I
It
don't
was
know.
Matt Cardle.
Oh, was it?
It was.
I don't even know who any of them are. How did I do that?
You could argue that they've done better than him.
Could you?
Frank, what about when I turned it into a Steve Wright thing and I clapped? Oh,
No, that was
Charlie,
great.
producer, joined in.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Alan
yeah,
Cochrane's here this afternoon.
yeah. I got a little warm glow then when you did that. Well, maybe we should do that.
Yeah,
all the
you
time.
should have gone during the break.
What about when he tweeted that, though? That's embarrassing. He
Do you
said,
think
wow,
so?
I'm going to be a dad. Well, it is, because he was saying, oh, the idea's so preposterous. I'm a young buck.
But they're saying
Now
it-
what's happened?
Yeah,
They're saying in the paper the joke's backfired, and you think
3
years. 3 years is a long gestation for a backfiring of jokes.
When I die, someone going to say, "Oh, he did a joke about dying in 2004." Aye, that's come back to haunt him. Or is he going to come back to haunt? Oh. Can we do that again, Steve? I cut the haunting thing. It got too confusing.
I think, in terms of
Steve.
jokes...
Steve, I say, can we? Steve, are you there? I mean, where is? Oh, Steve, are you? Sorry, carry on.
It was about as successful as your April Fool's joke when you
Got
ran
what?
upstairs. No, it was worse than that. And you said the toilet's broken,
Yes, the toilet's leaking.
the toilet's leaking, and then you said the car's been stolen.
Yeah, the car's been stolen, but if the car is stolen in 3 years' time, I'm going to have egg on my face.
Yeah, you are.
Come back to haunt.
Those are your two worst jokes.
My mate told me.
Stick around.
My mate told me when we were teenagers.
Your
that
mate.
he'd,
You told you.
no, my mate.
People always say my mate when it's them.
It's honestly not me.
That's not Alan's style.
he had
He's
the-
not a lazy
He's got
comic.
multi-personality disorder, I've told
He
you.
had a
141
girlfriend.
characters. Twitter, they call him at the hospital.
He had a girlfriend when he was a teenager, and he was going away to Scarborough for 3 days, and left his mum a note saying, "Oh, I've gone to Scarborough. By the way, Alison is pregnant," and just went.
Oh, there he goes again with the word.
But there wasn't even mobile phones then for the mum
You've
to
got to
phone
say
up and go,
gravid.
"This better be a joke."
No.
That's a different time, innit? When you can't text saying, "Come on, let me off the hook here."
Apparently you can't say pregnant either.
No, it's a strange word to get all
Oh.
uppity about.
It's, so it was a joke.
He was kidding, yeah.
Oh,
but
good.
he
Good
wasn't in
on
One
him.
Direction. He wasn't on Twitter. He wasn't 1D territory.
Oh, he wasn't in One Direction?
No. He was just.
You never said that at the beginning.
Just a
I
normal.
was on a false thread. Yeah, it's,
Have you ever had a joke backfire, Frank? I can't imagine.
settle yourself down.
That's his whole life.
Well, I nearly killed somebody this week with one.
Yeah, that was a success.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
How did the
backfiring.
runs go back?
What about my Moss Bros one? I did one. I was on a show with Alan this week.
Oh, Alan.
Me?
Yeah, and I did a joke which I thought was a brilliant joke.
Oh, yeah.
How was it then?
We're talking about Burke and Hare. You know Burke and Hare, the famous grave robbers.
Grave robbers, yeah.
And I said, yeah, they died. They were ripped to pieces by Greyfriars Bobby.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Now, they were grave robbers. Greyfriars Bobby, the dog, guarded his owner's
Yes,
grave, and
yes.
they all operated in Edinburgh. So it was
Yes.
a brilliantly, cleverly nothing from the audience.
Oh, dear.
And I thought it should be like in cricket, you can go to the third umpire and say, can we just run through that joke again? And they say, oh no, actually it was funny, and then they have to laugh.
Yeah.
Or, Hawkeye on the tennis. So the crowd, so just do that joke again, the crowd go, whoa, then it was funny. But no, you don't get a second chance in this crazy business.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
003.
Roland Riveron, by the way, told me that when he did that series, he did a week at Ronnie Scott's with Nina Simone. One night she came out with the bags, sat down, lifted up the lid of the piano and went, I don't think so. Just put the lid down and went off.
Wow.
Didn't play.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to do that here one morning.
But I said, there'll be people be gutted, but now they're the people with the great story, the people who were there that night.
Yeah.
Apparently Larry David did that as well, the writer of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, Frank knows that. He loves an American box set.
You love a box set.
Oh, it's like that episode of Curb Your...
Apparently he went on as a stand-up and went, not tonight. Just went.
What do you think of that, Frank?
Not as cool.
You
liked it better when it was Nina Simone, didn't you?
Well, Burke and Hare, apparently they just lifted up the lid one night and said, I don't think so.
Actually, nah, was I believe the phrase.
No.
Don't you remember when one of five said that to me? He looked at me. I was at some awards music ceremony thing, and he just, as I was walking past, one of them went, "Oh, what about her?" Then, actually, no.
Awful.
But we've all got different tastes.
Do you think the guys from One Direction got advice from the people in the boy band A1? Because it's directions.
Oh, yeah.
A1.
Oh, I used to love A1.
One Direction and A1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think the lads from Blue got advice from Deep Purple?
Well, this is... I like this advice thing.
Alan's
advice corner.
Yeah.
I like it.
What else you got?
That's it.
Oh, that's it.
The worst joke to backfire was on me.
Uh-oh.
Which was when I did an April Fool on a family friend, a Canadian gentleman.
Okay.
It's not relevant that he was Canadian, but he was. Mm-hmm. And we had cookies on a plate.
Was he a famous actor?
No.
Okay.
The only person that we knew who wasn't. And we decided that it would be humorous to put a rubber cookie from the joke shop on the plate.
Excellent work.
And he bit into it. And he went, "Oh, my tooth!"
Oh, no.
He was in terrible agony. And I got in trouble. I got sent to bed with no dinner party.
Oh. The worst punishment.
Emily Teen childhood punishment of them all.
I mean, that's what I was threatened with all the way through my childhood, but I never actually got that. They were always saying, "You won't be allowed to the dinner party, Alan, if you keep that up."
It's the worst punishment you can imagine.
Oh, that's very marvellous. You see, I've been loath to speak after that because it's going to be after the Lord Mayor's show. Thank God for the adverts.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text our show on 81215. You can follow our show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email our show via the Absolute Radio website.
Do you know what we haven't talked about this morning? One of my favourite characters of the week, El Chapo. Do you know who that is?
El Chapo.
Oh, El Chapo. Yes, I do.
El Chapo is the cartel leader who was responsible for what I'm calling the Great Escape.
Yes.
I mean, hats off to him.
Yes, he's a Mexican...
he's a drugs lord. There's no...
He's a drugs lord.
He's strung out.
I don't know if he was, but he certainly sold to some people that were. Is that...
Yes.
Oh, you seem to have intricate knowledge of his business methods.
I'm looking after his reputation there, Alan Cochrane.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was. Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
El Chapo apologist. I don't think he's going to sue me.
Oh, do you know? You don't
No,
think?
I imagine he's a man who thinks justice is quite important. Well.
He might sue you. Apparently, he's quite wealthy.
Yes.
He's worth
the
$1
tunnel.
billion.
He spent 50 million on that tunnel.
Yeah.
I mean,
We should say, shouldn't we? A brief summary.
Yes.
He was in prison for his...
in Mexico.
Yeah, and...
I believe it's called the Altiplano.
Okay. and he escaped from prison. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's something a bit exciting about it. Any prison escape, and certainly with a tunnel involved.
Yeah,
with a bike,
a motorbike in the tunnel.
A mini moped.
I mean, to be honest, I think that is unnecessary.
It's a bit banana split.
That tunnel.
It was a bit E.T. getaway. It was so babyish. That's why I loved it.
The thing is, it's under a mile long, the tunnel. You think you could have just walked that and not had to have a motorbike in it?
Lord.
Yeah,
doesn't walk a mile.
Well, they could have put a bicycle in then. Why did you have to have a motorbike?
He didn't spend all those
flashy.
years standing on street corners saying, you want doing all that. So now have to walk down his own escape tunnel.
No.
It was so clever, though. Apparently it had lights, Al. And then as he went past, each light went off.
That's clever.
The sad
thing.
Like in a big hotel corridor.
like a burglar thing.
Save money.
He feels happy with the burglar light. But I imagine that in a circus somewhere in Mexico, there was a monkey in a pseudo-military uniform saying to the ringmaster, I don't know where it's gone, I parked it outside the caravan. Came back to get it, it's gone.
He's asking for trouble, though, because when they recapture him, they're going to do him for escaping and riding a motorcycle without the correct paperwork, aren't they? He's just put another couple of years on his sentence, probably.
What about that tunnel? A mile long. Why didn't they think it was suspicious that they had a construction site so near the bridge? Oh, we built a nice penthouse flat. Beautiful. Why would there be a construction site?
I think there was a suggestion, and this is allegedly, that he may have bribed some of the guards in the prison.
To just put the radio up really loud so that they couldn't hear
ignore the dust.
Bulldozing going on.
But surely when they saw that transistor radio with the paint drips...
Yeah, I thought, Keith then.
Yeah. He got down through a hole in the shower. This is what gets me.
Yeah.
Now, I can't get water down the hole in my shower.
But they've got a person.
I'm always at it with Mr. Muscle and the plunger and all that. It's a nightmare, just from my own hair.
Well, there was a 32-inch shaft that went down to the tunnel.
So how did it get down there in a sombrero?
I love your 70s worldview. But he said he used a sparrow as well, didn't he? To test the air quality. And they found it. When he'd gone, he left it as a sort of calling card. It was alive, we should say, animal lovers.
It was asleep in the bin.
Yeah, he wouldn't kill a sparrow.
It's wrong, though, isn't it? A sparrow. Surely it should have been a minor bird, isn't it? A minor bird that they used
Canaries.
to use.
Yeah, but you can't trust the minor because they talk.
Also...
they sing like a canary, I
Yeah, they'd have been interrogating.
The reason they didn't use a minor bird is that it's an adult prison and you can't have minors in there.
Fantastic.
You know the thing I love most, Al? When he got to the other side, when he was through... When they'd sprung him, is what I believe they say in the industry.
Nice.
There was a change of clothes waiting for him. Now, that's my kind of escape. A brand new outfit.
Adidas tracksuit. Yeah.
I like the idea that they thought, no one will ever recognise him if he's got a new T-shirt on.
Low-key sombrero. Pastel shades. No glitter. No shinies on this one.
No shinies.
I like, there's a picture of him, he's a bald bloke, like, clean shaven, it said, he's believed that he may now have a moustache. I thought, of course he's got a and I know exactly what, I'll draw it on, then we'll find him. Absolutely straightforward.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, this El Chapo character.
Yes.
El Chapo.
I mean, what I love about him, and I stress I am saying I love stuff about him in case he's listening.
Yes.
He has been tweeting rather extraordinarily.
Has he?
Yes.
He hasn't said, wow, I'm a father.
He's doing it via his son, but he's sending out messages to people. He's making it very clear who he's going to get.
Oh.
Which is a helpful guide for the FBI, I would imagine.
I bet he's built up. And so, Donald Trump, who recently criticised Mexico heavily,
he's not happy. Let's put it this way: he's not happy with Donald.
No.
Oh dear.
No.
What about Richard Hammond? Can't we tip him off about that? Remember he laid into...
I'm going to get in touch with El Chapo.
Yeah. Tweet him.
I've got a few scores to settle.
We can put a link on.
I'm going to go more than tweet him.
What if we tweeted him that link? He'd probably kill Richard. I don't think... Can I say, if anyone's listening, please don't do that.
Let's not tweet
that could genuinely be a dangerous thing to do.
No, but I'm going to get in touch. What if he DM'd me? Oh,
that'd be
El
good.
Chapo. Yeah, how you doing?
I do sort of wish that we'd known he'd been tipped off he's going to escape, and we could have sent British prisoner Charles Bronson coming down the tunnel the other way on a small bike.
That would have been
and let him battle in the beginning. Like the best computer game ever.
My money's on Charles.
Yeah.
Because he goes for the butter, the full-on...
Oh, yeah, of course he does. So, yeah.
What,
Do you know
before
that?
a fight?
He
puts butter
smears
on?
himself in butter, doesn't he, Fang?
He did
So
that
they
on his-
can't-
on his
Against
last-
any grapplers.
Yes.
Very
No,
clever.
that's what he did last
Very
time. He
clever.
covered himself in butter so the guards couldn't get a proper grip on him. And he's bald-headed and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Good
holding a big fish.
Good thinking. It was an expensive escape, though, as Emily pointed out. It's 50 million in bribes, they reckon. And some character said to the papers, "You have to buy off the guards, and they know how rich he is. They will have asked for tens of millions of dollars."
Yeah.
I like the fact that how rich he is suddenly becomes a factor, like it's a football transfer, and Man United are involved. Like, hang on, no. It's during the transfer window it goes up because they know it's Man United trying to buy. It's funny, isn't it?
But doesn't he actually say, let me out or I'll kill you? Why
would
does
imagine.
money come
Wasn't that
into
what
it?
Roger Moore said? Somewhat.
Exactly. Yeah, very... I don't know. They said that it would need almost a year to have dug the tunnel. With,
Yeah.
352
with
days.
miners working shifts
Yeah.
through the night.
I think it put a bit of extra time on it because they took a little side tunnel bit and they stole a load of jewellery from Hatton Garden.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same one, so that helps with the overheads.
Can I be honest, they seem rubbish compared to this El Chapo.
Yeah, they do now.
I mean,
don't
it's
they?
fine, but it's...
I don't know. I like
Come on.
my prison escapes a bit more lo-fi.
Oh, no, I like
I don't
this
want a
one.
big team of miners and burglar lights and...
Motorcycles.
No. Do you remember that bloke in America who he collected all his dental floss
Yeah?
over years and lowered himself down and escaped from prison?
That's
that's
amazing.
And also, you know, that sort of gungy stuff you get around the bottom of the bars in prison
Yeah.
windows, he got all that off.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I thought I could just read you one email about pens. It's almost closure, but there may be more.
We've had some complaints
we did have
about
a
the pen
complaint.
theme.
We had a
Someone said,
complaint,
I won't
but-
name them, but they said they're up for pedantic banter, but please, enough of the Biro talk.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, no, not enough. I've got one more to give.
Okay.
Come on, one more. Give me one time.
Pen that writes in space email. Sorry to bother you, but the actual problem with
Sorry to
pencils...
bother you. Is
Go
good.
on. You like
It's a good opener
as a
to
beginning,
a
yeah.
radio show.
Sorry
Yeah.
to bother you.
Yes, we're trying to do a radio show here. Can you
Sorry to
stop?
bother you on that public forum where you asked me to text or email.
No, that's
in.
lovely. I like
No,
politeness
it's
in
good.
all its forms.
Yeah.
Sorry
I
to
love
bother you, but the actual problem with pencils in space is that graphite dust doesn't fall to the ground but can short-circuit equipment. It's just that Russians didn't care. That's good.
Don't tell me they didn't care about the cosmos.
And after all those 70s school children bothered to learn the language.
Oh,
It's so unfair.
It is unfair. Pencils on a spaceship. That would have been a good sequel to Snakes on a Plane.
It would. Good info. And
is
that's
good
from
info,
today.
yeah.
I think there's talk we should perhaps go to email corner more often.
Oh,
What do
yeah,
you
can
think?
we do it?
Yeah,
Should we do
yeah, we've
that?
been neglecting it just lately. But I tell you what, as it's been a while, just by way of wildness, let's do the jingle that actually failed, that was entered and failed.
Oh, yeah, go
Do
on.
you remember this one?
Quite like it.
Yeah, that's Matthew Mays.
Frank, what happens if you do an IEM whilst in the corner?
Oh, goodness me.
An IEM. Oh, you mean an idiotic eureka moment?
Yeah, 'cause
Some of
I-
our older readers will remember these. It's when,
Yeah.
can I just explain
Yeah,
what it is?
yeah.
It's when you realise something like a pun or whatever, a play on words, it takes you years, or everyone else knows it and you don't. And the example I always give, my own personal one, was that they used to have adverts for BT, and the woman who did them was played by Maureen Lipman, was called BT, and it took me probably 3 years to when I suddenly went, oh, BT, it's called BT because, and I said it
BT.
to a group of friends, and they went, that, which was always what defines the idiotic eureka moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
that moment.
Well, mine's
So what was
not
yours?
as Damascene as that.
No.
However, I was thinking about Great Britain the other day.
Oh, yeah, how lovely.
Yes, sometimes that happens to me.
Yeah. Were you lying back at the time?
I suddenly thought of that. And I suddenly thought, well, it's funny we call it Great Britain. And then I started thinking of Little Britain. And I thought, oh, they've done a bit of a play on Great Britain there. I thought Little Britain was just a title for the show. I didn't think it was a reference to the fact that as opposed to Great Britain, it was Little Britain. See what I mean?
Yes, I mean, that's never occurred to me. I thought it was kind of like Middle England, Little Britain.
Right.
But it might well be.
What do you think?
I think you're all right. I think both of you are right.
Does it just mean post-gastric band?
I don't know.
That was a Fern Britain
It's a
joke.
Fern Britain joke, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it is. If anyone knows for sure, please there must be
Matt
some.
Lucas, for example, he might be listening.
He might not know for sure.
Okay.
It's so difficult,
Lovely
isn't
man,
it?
though.
He is.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Email corner.
Nice bit of mixing from Faith No More straight into that.
Yes, that's good. I mean, some would have fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
You know, that's a DJ term.
No?
When the mix
Is it?
goes a bit wrong.
Oh, is it?
Right.
Did not know that. Did not know that. I would... I'd like to...
Nina, can you
Nina's
get
back.
out?
I'd like to read an email to you since we're in the corner.
Let's do it.
Dear Frank, Alan, Emily, many years ago, I should say this is on parking from a couple of weeks ago when we were discussing parking in Great.
Yes, that's when we weren't discussing pens.
Yeah.
We were discussing parking.
We're parking in forensic detail. Dear Frank, Alan, Emily, many years ago a friend of mine drove down to Wembley to see U2 with me, and he decided to park on the massive car park surrounding the stadium. But to my amazement, he managed to park his car closer than anyone else to the Twin Towers that was possible, which still amazes me now how close we were to the entrance, and it was parked reverse for easy exit after the concert. Nice feeling.
Wow.
I bet he sat watching that or stood thinking, we're pointing in the right way.
Yeah, except done all the hard work.
One problem was that we were so close to the stadium that getting away afterwards was, shall we say, a little time consuming, and I now realise why we got that space so close. That is one of my pet hates, is driving through crowds of pedestrians. Oh, I really hate
I don't
that.
mind that. Out of my way, losers.
I hate that.
Also...
Sorry, carry on.
No, I just think as long as I'm protected in the car, I don't mind.
Yeah, but you know when all those girl fans are putting their faces against the window, and you're just...
Oh, my boyfriend doesn't get that kind of attention. Normally 70-year-olds.
I still get that a lot.
Do you?
No.
No, you don't.
I once
You get a
interviewed...
pensioner if you're lucky.
I interviewed David Essex, and I said, you know, when you're in a car, like, and there's all those women pressing their face against the window and go, David, what facial expression do you adopt? And he answered it very seriously and said, I think I went sort of like this, and gave me a couple of examples. It's very good.
Good for him. People wouldn't do that with my car. We park under a tree. There's often... Anyway.
Well, no, you get sap if you park under a tree. Sap on the windscreen.
And bird problems. Anyway.
I would say, having parked at Wembley myself many times, there is a bit of a thing at Wembley, is that when you're driving in there, the stewards, because you're paying to park, so the stewards are very, very helpful, and when you come out, they've all gone home. So you're left. They've had the money.
Yeah.
Cages.
So they get you in it.
I remember once at West Brom, I think it was a big game for us. It was about 30 or 40,000 maybe on the... And I thought, I'll wait. I won't go out. I'll just let the crowd die down. And I was sitting on the wall, and this copper, like a senior copper, remember they used to have like a little baton?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
some of
yes,
those coppers.
I do.
And he said to me, what's the trouble, son? And I said, I just thought I'd wait till the crowd cleared a bit before I left. And I remember he went, wise boy. And I felt slightly ashamed, a bit too grown up and sensible.
Yeah.
Oh, do they still have the batons? Have I invented that, the
No,
police?
that sounds
No, the police
familiar
had
to
a
me.
I don't mean like a riot baton, I mean like a military sergeant
I've
major
seen
under the arm.
photographs in the How We Used to Live books. I'm sure they do.
Of me?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, we haven't discussed this morning the drunk squirrel.
We have not.
This is one of my favourite stories this week. He broke
Is it up
into...
there with El Chapo?
It's up
Well,
Or should I say
he
down
was
there with El Chapo?
similarly strung out.
Yeah.
there. It's a different level of crime, though, I think. to be fair.
Broke into a private members bar. When I say
Legend.
private members bar, it's not one I frequent. It's called the Honeybourne Railway Club.
Okay.
And he went on a wild rampage.
A squirrel.
Yeah, he went on a spree.
Yeah.
He knocked over glasses, didn't he, Al?
Yeah.
Turned on-
Staggering around.
Tossed beer mats, money and straws on the floor.
He tossed beer, man. It's a squirrel.
Turned on the Caffrey's beer tap. And the owner thinks he drunk it. Can I just say he's my spirit animal already? The
Yeah.
squirrel. You're sounding dubious. Do you think the owner's made it up? I can see from that look in your eye, Frank.
I can
Skinner, I know
imagine.
you well.
I can imagine a squirrel getting in somewhere and knocking stuff over and
Yeah.
things like that. And knocking the taps on, but drinking the beer.
You can't imagine a squirrel drinking beer with
No.
those whiskers. They're perfect for beer drinking.
Yeah.
He's probably a member of Camera, this squirrel.
Mind you, there used to be a brewery called Mitchells and Butlers in the West Midlands, and it might still exist. And I think the squirrel was their symbol. Maybe they are associated with drunkenness
Maybe.
in folklore.
I
I know
worry.
it's bad luck to kill one, I think my dad told me. And he killed animals of all kinds with his bare hands.
I was going
but-
to say in a rare moment of compassion.
Yeah, I think now, but bad luck, it was based on superstition, not caring. I think it's bad luck to kill her. No, it sounds to me like the blokes. You know when you have to rescue your own anecdote. You know when you're telling an anecdote,
Oh, yeah.
and you think they'll really laugh at this because the squirrel got in, and people aren't laughing, and you have to start like adding some untrue layers.
Oh, yeah.
And then it dropped. Then none of that, but he drunk. Okay, when I got it, it was absolutely drunk, which is in a panic. He said that.
He
And it-
said he staggered out a box of crisps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
that's where you can immediately detect a lie, because surely
Right.
a squirrel would be going for the nuts. And
Exactly.
all the
Oh,
bar
yeah.
snacks.
It would have
Ah,
revealed.
you're
It
so
would have
right.
completely revealed the bikini girl by the time he got in.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I love Frank's idea of pubs.
It's just any.
In
I haven't been in a
2015.
pub since I stopped drinking a long time ago. Any young people listening? I know it's unlikely, but there could be. They used to have these cardboard
KP nuts.
Yeah, and it used to be a picture of a lady in a bikini, and it was covered in packets of nuts. The idea was men would be so desperate to see a woman in a bikini, they'd buy more nuts than nuts. It was a bit like catchphrase, when you release when you open the square on the on the big clue.
Those were
And
innocent
there'd be a
times.
lovely fresh. And all I tell you what I liked
Men were
about.
happy with a bikini in those days.
Yeah, and I tell you what I liked about those bikini girls. There's none of this pouty stuff. There's a nice broad smile. They looked like they're having a night. They looked healthy.
Happy to be there.
Yeah,
Broad smile.
yeah, they did. They looked genuinely happy to be under the nuts.
I wonder if...
You're extraordinary.
Anyway, well, it's a simpler times. You used to be able to get bottles of lager. Do you remember cans of lager
Yes.
with bikini girls on as well?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I remember that.
lovely.
Simpler times.
My worry about the squirrel is if it's true, and indeed I think you might be right. I suspect there might have been some embellishment.
But I'm not saying. I'm saying the drinking thing.
I think you could
and I
be
think
right.
it's
I
wrong.
think the turning the beer tap on is an exaggeration.
No, I think that could happen, but drinking the beer.
Why do
if you consider
what,
the.
you find it more plausible that he got his little claw out.
No, but he
and
could have
turned it
ran. He
round?
could have scampered across because those are the ones you just step down. Those beer taps.
Oh, I see.
He could have scampered across, but he wouldn't have thought. Oh, he just wouldn't have drunk it. I
He
don't.
wouldn't. He just wouldn't. Like, you know him.
No,
you know his
everyone's like
character.
you.
I know. Look, I grew up.
He just wouldn't. He's not that kind of guy.
To me, the squirrels in this country have got a long tradition as part of the road safety
They have.
campaign
Oh,
with
yeah.
Tofty,
Tufty.
Oh, yeah.
Tofty Fluffy Tail, and then to associate him with alcohol is just wrong.
It's funny you should say that, because I was driving recently and I saw a squirrel try to cross the road. It ran into the road, saw an HGV, and literally did one of those very human, like, and ran back to the car.
Really?
That's
was
right, that's my
amazing.
other
Did
spirit
it have a
animal.
blue jacket?
I half expected it to check a wristwatch as if
jacket
it was
was
in a hurry to get somewhere.
It was Tofty.
It was amazing.
Do you think my worry about the squirrel is he the kind of, if he was a human being, he'd be a pub bore, wouldn't he? That's all I'm going to say. He'd say it'd be rude not to.
Grey or red?
What, Tufty?
No, grey or red is the new Ant and Dec Saturday night. They swing a squirrel in a bag for a minute, and during the swinging you have to shout whether it's grey or red, and they tip it, if you get it right, £1 million. You heard it here first. Okay, I mean, they're only at pilot stage, but who knows? So listen, thank you so much for listening. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out!
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.